Brought to you by Southern Trust Home Services, 540-208. And I'm meteorologist Jamie Singleton. We're now on all the platforms live for you, 10 o'clock on this Thursday night. You are looking at a radar satellite composite. We've had moisture trying to stream in all day. It's caused us some issues because the clouds were a little bit late for some parts of the area. And after the sunset tonight, a lot of you got down into the lower and middle 20s, which is about 4 or 5 degrees colder than I think you should have been, than what the models thought you would be. And that's a problem because in this area where you see the areas that have been clear, that's where the temperatures are the coldest. I'll put the METARs on. You can see these are the reporting stations. You can see high pressure is sending down from the north the colder air below the rain. The rain's coming in a loft, so you see everything coming from different directions. The wind pointing in the direction it's coming from at the surface. So our surface winds are out of the northeast and east. That's going to lock in the cold air tonight and tomorrow morning. And then off here in the upper levels, you can see a disturbance that's getting picked up by a second disturbance. And this one's going to intensify over the area tomorrow and eventually give us some much needed rain. There are a few brush fires out right now across the area. This could give us a good solid inch of moisture coming up for tomorrow. But in the meantime, it's the icy part of that moisture that is the big concern. So right now, I'm already getting a report of freezing rain. Let's see, this is in North Carolina, Transylvania County, which is southwest of Asheville, down in the high mountains of North Carolina. We've got a glaze of ice already covering Highway 281 near Lake Toxaway. So some hazardous conditions here. You see it there in the pink, and this is only going to be the beginning as it moves farther to the north and east. By around midnight, it'll be up around Galax and in Patrick County into Henry County and getting into Franklin County, Roanoke, and Lynchburg by 1 a.m. or so, and up into the Highlands, I think, and up into Charlottesville by 4 or 5 a.m. So it'll be an early morning event, and it will continue for the morning commute, and that's my main concern. These are the temperatures outside right now. I don't have them all loaded here because I didn't open my program at the top of the hour, and I think that's the way WSV3 works sometimes. But look at this, 23 in Covington. When I look at freezing rain, I try to see, are we going to have a 32-degree freezing rain or a 25-degree freezing rain? Because a 25-degree freezing rain is a lot different than a 32-degree one. If you get temperatures down into the 20s and you can have freezing rain, that's when you typically see the roads unable to compensate with the daytime heating, and they become pretty slick, especially the bridges and those low spots and the overpasses. So if you're down into the 20s already, and a lot of places, we've been at 29, now we're 28 here in Redwood at 10:04. But I think by 6:30 this evening, we were at 29. So we're on about 4 hours here, or 3 or 4 hours below freezing in Redwood and parts of Franklin County. Burnt Chimney was 26 at my house earlier. And so I was already putting some like Rain-X on my windshield, and it was already freezing up because your surfaces actually are colder than the air temperature. So a lot of the car, your windshield and everything, it's already below freezing. So as soon as this stuff falls, it's going to freeze. And I'm very concerned about not trees and power lines with this. I'm very concerned about icy travel for the day tomorrow. You can see as you get into the mountains, we always see this with cold air damming. There's a break to it. So if you get out in Southwest Virginia, Marion, this area, and get over the ridge tops there in Tennessee, it's not really a concern. But once you get east of Whiteville, and especially east of the Blue Ridge Mountains here into the Parkway area, that's where you can see a lot of problems there in terms of freezing rain. So this is the latest water vapor. This is the high level moisture that's streaming in. Again, I've already mentioned that. As we go through the night tonight and into the day tomorrow, this will be a primarily morning event, but I think by around lunchtime, a lot of areas warm up, and as the Weather Service has here, just a few pockets left over. But the rain will pick up tomorrow as low pressure kind of strengthens to our south and swings on through. We've got another little dip coming in behind this, and that's going to enhance the rain. So we're going to get a lot of rain. This is a confusing map, but it shows the one disturbance right here. That's the freezing rain coming in. It's getting picked up tomorrow by the second area of energy that'll be digging down across the south and bringing in more waves of rain tomorrow afternoon and evening. These will be heavier, but they'll be warmer. Okay, so here's the satellite. I'm going through my tabs here as I had a few open for you to show. Let's see. This is the new 0Z hot off the presses NAM, high resolution NAM, which has some areas here in the Mountain Empire up around a third of an inch of ice accretion. That's actually significant. But our friends at the Blacksburg National Weather Service remind us that on trees and tree limbs, you take about 40% of that, and that's what accretes. This is what's expected to be on the ground. So it's primarily just a very light glaze. But there are going to be some areas that you see there in the darker pinks through Botetourt County and Rockridge County. And one of the areas that I'm really concerned about right near the Blue Ridge Parkway in Franklin County and the Roanoke County down across Floyd County. This area was hit hard by an ice storm last year about this time, or about in November actually, of last year. And I think that's going to be the case again this year. I don't know if it's going to be really a tree event, maybe a few limbs down, isolated power outages, but I'm really concerned for most all areas for that morning commute tomorrow between the hours of, say, if you're going to be out late tonight, just keep an eye on the roads, because after it starts, if it's raining tonight, it's going to be icy. And then tomorrow morning, we should start to see some warmer weather try to peek on in. These are the temperatures that I've been watching, and they have bottomed out, I believe. Now that we've got the cloud cover, the free fall has stopped, so to speak. But, 28 degrees, Floyd County, 26 down here, 27. We've got a 29. Right at 32 in Martinsville. But if you get across Franklin County, some of these clear breaks, we got down into the 20s, and we've been bouncing around. So we're going to lock that cold air in. It's already locked in, basically, through about lunchtime tomorrow. This is the RAP model, the Rapid Update. And these are the pink areas coming in by around 2 a.m. It's starting, and fairly heavy across the mountains, or at least moderate. And then as you go across the morning hours, this is looking at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. The RAP has it already just turning over to a cold rain in south side. That may not be the case. Models tend to warm up to low levels a little too fast. But I think in the NRV and the southwest areas, you are going to warm up pretty quickly. It'll be a narrow window for you. Roanoke Valley and areas to the east, Roanoke Valley down across the foothills, even down to Martinsville, Rocky Mount, especially Boone's Mill, down to Callaway and Ferrum, that area really need to watch. A lot in Franklin County and then the Bedford County as well. Roanoke Valley will be in the heart of this as well. Icy roads through Catawba, outlying areas outside of Roanoke City. And then as we go throughout the day, you see that warmer air moving in and the rain getting heavier. The heavier rain actually brings down the warmer air aloft, helps scour out that low-level cold air. But it's going to be a yucky, rainy day all day tomorrow, just a soaker developing. And that'll end up being the bigger story will be the heavy rainfall by the afternoon. But again, the morning hours are going to be slick. Here's a look at the NAM. I've zoomed it in here, and this is, I've got this stopped on 4 a.m. So 3 to 4. Again, by 5, everyone will be in the ice. And then by 6, 7 o'clock, it hopefully will be a very narrow window. That's what this run of the NAM has. I think it's going to hold on a little bit longer than what they've got it here. But you can see all the rain. Look at these oranges and reds coming in by the afternoon and evening through Friday. And then we finally get a dry slot Friday night before more areas of showers move in for Saturday. And then we've got some wraparound snow here in the mountains of West Virginia and the highlands here coming up for Saturday afternoon. So that will be exciting. I wanted to show you, we've got an area here. If you go up in the upper levels, this is the rain snow line. It's way up here across DC. So no snow. We've already moved in the warmer air. You can see here the red, that'll be the freezing rain. This is the Schref blend. I like to use this a lot in the winter. And it's got, again, everything starting here by 3, 4 in the morning. But you see it's a fairly narrow window. But look at the areas. I do want to pinpoint this. You see that across Franklin County. It's a little hard to see. See if I can zoom it in a little bit. Yeah. Roanoke Valley through the NRV. And notice how it's in pockets, these red pockets. You even got a few pockets over here across central Virginia. And it may not be exactly lined up like this, but you can see the Blue Ridge Parkway right there. And then you can also see the Allegheny Front here. So trapped in between will be the colder air, and that'll be where you see most of the ice. The National Weather Service has their forecast here actually quite a bit from this afternoon on their ice forecast. So I think what we've got is a forecaster that knows the area a little better and the situation. And if we hang on to the colder air a little bit longer, you saw that heavier rain moving in, we could see a crossover where we pick up some additional freezing rain before that, another hour or two of that heavier rain will add to these ice totals. But around a tenth to 2/10 of ice accretion up to 1/4 of an inch. Once you get to 1/4 of an inch, you start to see the power outages in the limbs get weighed down some. So that'll be something to worry about, maybe on the tree limbs across, as I mentioned, the Parkway and into the northwest North Carolina mountains there around North Wilkesboro. Through the Roanoke Valley again. I think the spine of the Blue Ridge will be an area to watch as well. Notice the amounts are much less here across Lynchburg and Southside, but still significant. I do want to mention that anywhere there is any amount is going to be very slippery, right? Because we only need to establish a light glaze to make things slick. So I do think this is one of those events in that the timing is going to allow it to be slick in the morning, at least on the bridges and overpasses. And it could even be on just the regular roads as well. I do think the interstates, if you're having any travel, it's going to be wet. There's going to be some ponding of water on the roadways, no doubt, tomorrow. I would be, extra careful, especially in the morning, but I think that VDOT's probably going to have a pretty good handle on it out throughout the day. It's just going to probably be wet. But the bridges and overpasses, no sudden moves. Kind of take it slow, and I think you'll be okay. But the country roads tomorrow morning and those decks and sidewalks out here at work, I've got a wooden deck that I walk up to get into the station, and I can count on that being icy because it's nestled in between the two buildings and it's facing north, and it's kind of a relatively low spot, and it's always icy there. So if you got an area that where the snow tends to stick around after a snow, it's not going to snow, but it gives you an idea of the temperature. Not getting a lot of sunlight during the day, that's going to probably ice up. And it could ice up later in the day. So just because it's not icy in the morning doesn't mean that during the morning it can't ice up at some point until we get the cold air out of here. But I do think it's already coming in, and it's gonna last throughout the morning tomorrow. So it's gonna be slick. Be careful out there. A lot of school delays and whatnot. So just exercise caution and be careful. I'm meteorologist Jamie Singleton. I'll have more updates on my Patreon page. You can go there, check it out, or you can keep update on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and all that good stuff.